He smiled as he drew close. The crowds are gathering. We should leave now. Kay stood abruptly. Then what are we waiting for? Let's show seen better days, farm boy. Kay glared as they passed the boy he had argued with the previous day. I'll make him sorry he ever laughed at me. He growled so that only Arthur could hear. Ignore him, Arthur replied, although the heckle continued. One saw him from my sword. Should see that scene broken in two. Kay stopped walking. Kay, Arthur warned. Don't. My sword. Kay gasped. I don't have my sword. You, what? Arthur was incredulous. Of all the things to forget. It's your fault, Kay assumed. You were supposed to bring it. What are you waiting for? Kay demanded angrily. Go back and get it. Skidding on the wet mud, Arthur turned and fled back towards camp. Kay was right. It had been Arthur's job, as his square, to bring the sword. Excuse me, he cried, desperately trying to squeeze through the press of people. The crowd were growing denser as the start of the tournament drew near, and everyone fought to get inside the arena. At this rate, Arthur would be too late. By the time he got back with Kay's sword, Kay would have lost his chance to compete, and it would be all his fault, unless an idea popped into Arthur's head. Probably the stupidest he had ever had. But what choice was there? With everyone flocking to the tournament grounds instead, it wasn't long before Arthur found himself in a deserted clearing, looking up at the sword in the stone. Emery's had been right. It had called to him yesterday. He'd even seen it in his dreams. Arthur glanced around, but he already knew he was alone. No one would be here until the tournament had finished. No one would know. Cheering rose from the arena. The fighting was about to begin. Arthur scrambled over the rock, pulling himself up beside the sword. Reaching out, he gripped the hilt. He felt instantly stronger than he ever had before. Without thinking, Arthur pulled, and without effort, the sword slipped free. Just like that, Arthur stumbled back, teetering atop the rock, and stared down at his hand. He had done it. He had pulled the sword from the stone. What did that mean? The cheering came again, almost a roar. Then a metallic clash. Arthur leaped from the rock and ran towards the sound. Kay was not where Arthur had left him. He was just inside the arena, not teeming with jousters and sword fighting. A bank of people on the far side standing and cheering them on. Kay was arguing with a man who seemed to be on the brink of sending him to stand with the spectators or cut on the street. This area is for contestants only. Kay, Arthur cried. Kay spun around. When he spotted Arthur, he looked like a man who'd found water in the desert. You are here. I thought you'd never made it. His relieved eyes fell on the sword in Arthur's hand. He looked again, and his jaw dropped. Is that... Arthur nodded and offered it to him. Quick, take it. Kay did not need to be told twice. He snatched the sword and held it aloft. He's got the sword, a voice cried out. Suddenly, Kay was surrounded by a crowd of people with knights swirling square till trying to trace them. Everyone wanted to see the sword and hear the story of how Kay had pulled it free. Silence. A strong voice bellowed above them all. Arthur turned to see Emrys steering towards them. Hector at his side. Hector gazed between his sons, a confused look on his face. Emrys looked only at Kay. Are you really the one who freed the sword? Kay stood tall. Of course I am, he retorted. Speak the truth, boy. Kay dropped his head. I'm not, he mumbled. Looking up, he pointed at Arthur. It was my brother Arthur. He held the sword out to Arthur. The sword is his. Arthur took it in a daze and could have dropped it in shock when Kay killed suddenly on one knee, followed by Hector, followed one by every man, woman, and child in the arena. Only Emrys remained standing, although he bowed deeply and smiled. At last, he murmured. Then he lifted his step and struck the ground. A flash of light lit the backs of the kneeling crowd. By the time they squinted up from between their fingers, Emrys was gone, or rather, the old man was gone. Chapter 6. The tournament was over almost before it began. It wasn't needed anymore. The new king had been found. At first, the people had seemed likely to swarm them in their excitement. Then Emrys had muttered something and they'd returned home instead, quietly, dazedly, not unlike Arthur. I still don't understand, he said back at camp, glancing at the now much younger man sitting beside him, though still with the same gnarled staff. You are saying Hector is not my father? Hector answered for him. I'm sorry, Arthur. What Merlin says is true. I'm not your father. Because Emrys wasn't Emrys either. He was a druid called Merlin. And Arthur was. Merlin brought you to me for protection when you were just a baby. He knew that I had a son of my own, not much older, he thought. The words faded out. It was too much for Arthur to take in. He looked at Kay, who hadn't spoken a word since Merlin had revealed Arthur's true heritage. He wanted to hear Kay to tell him that nothing had changed, that no matter who his father was, Kay was still his brother. Arthur, Merlin's voice broke through the fog in his mind. It was kind, but firm. You are Uther Pendragon's son and heir. Tomorrow you will come with me to Camelot and claim your rightful place as King of Britain. King of Britain, Arthur repeated. Without a scabbard, the sword had been rolled into a blanket. He knew that it was nearby, but without seeing it, he could almost pretend. It can't be true. Hector placed a hand on his shoulder. It is true, but it is not all that matters. He forced Arthur to look at him. I may not be your father by blood, Arthur, but you will always be my son, no matter where life takes you. Arthur swallowed a lump in his throat. I want you to come with me, you and Kay. You want me to come with you? Kay asked, breaking his silence. Even after I tried to calm the sword for myself? I can't be king without my brother, by myself. If we were still brothers, that is. Kay stared at him. Of course we are still brothers, he cried. Besides, who else even teach you how to use that sword? Arthur laughed, just when it seemed that everything was changing. His family reminded him that some things never would. And either will I, Arthur resolved. Wherever I sit, Whatever I wear on my head, I'll always be a farm boy in my heart, only with a much bigger flock to take care of. Across the camp, Merlin smiled as if reading his thought. And perhaps he was. There was still so much that Arthur didn't know yet, but only one more thing that really mattered. They talked long into the night, but Arthur didn't ask that question. Only time would give him the answer. The following day, Merlin led them into Camelot, the most beautiful place Arthur had ever seen. The castle was huge, with turrets towering into the sky at each corner of the outer wall. A vast stone bridge crossed a wide moat, leading up to an immense gatehouse. Beyond it was a courtyard, bustling with people eager to see the new king. Arthur wasn't comfortable being the center of so much attention, but he smiled through it all, thanking people for their kind words and promises. Now he stood in an antechamber next to Great Hall, dressed in clothes finer than even Kay could have dreamed of, a crest worthy of a king glistened upon his tunic, 3 golden crowns. He turned as Hector entered and bowed. "You look like a true king," Hector beamed. "I know Uther would have been as proud as I am." "Did you know him?" Arthur asked. Hector's stories had been just that before. Now Arthur realized that they might have been memories instead. Hector nodded. "It was my honor to fight for him when I was younger." Arthur thought about a nicks and dents in Kay's sword. "What kind of king was he?" Arthur asked, as he had done before when King Uther was just a character in the story. He cared so much more about the answer now. "He was brave and strong," Hector replied. "Also as before." Then he hesitated. "And ruthless," he added for the first time. "Is he the reason you take me in?" Arthur wanted to know. "He was my king, and I wanted to serve him in any way I could, but I soon came to love you for yourself," Hector assured him. "Every bit as much as Kay." Arthur smiled and returned Hector's hug. Behind them, the door opened and Kay stepped in, proudly wearing his own new crest, 2 white Ks. He bowed, then he teased. "What has happened to my little brother? I hardly recognize you." Arthur felt more out of place than ever. "I miss my farm clothes," he muttered. He took a deep breath. "I don't think I can do this, Kay." "Of course you can. You are Arthur Pendragon, King of Britain. You pulled the sword from the stone." Arthur wasn't sure that was enough, but he said nothing as the door opened again and Merlin appeared. "Are you ready, Your Majesty?" he asked. "Your people await." Ready or not, Arthur walked into the great hall, Merlin at his shoulder. The vast room was full of people who had come to see Arthur crowned. Caged inside of him, a hush fell over the hall as everyone knelt. At the far end, on the dais, Arthur caught his first glimpse of the throne, a large straight-backed wooden chair, heavily carved with a red velvet seat. Uther Pendragon, strong, brave, and ruthless, had sat on that throne. Now, as Arthur approached it himself, only one question filled his mind. What kind of king will I be?